Hello everyone, I'm Rachel Tessman from StampYourArtOut.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Andover, Minnesota in the US. And I'm here to bring you a live paper crafting class. We're going to do a couple projects today. One that I'll walk you through fully, and then another version of that. And then we also have another card that I'm going to give you some information on. Now, all these projects that I'm going to show you, because I'm going to show you even more, stem from an event that we just had this weekend at my house. It's the Silver Elite Retreat. 9th annual, I think. At least that's what I'm going with. I think it's the 9th year in a row where we've done it. And it is amazing. It's such a fun event. So achieving demonstrators in my group get to come to this event. We do make and takes all weekend. I make them meals. We sit and chat and have fun. We even played a game called Tensies. I've never played that before. It was super fun. So it was a really enjoyable weekend. I'm going to bring you down to the desktop really quick and show you what products I made my make and takes from. So from the mini catalog that debuted in January, although I could pre-order stuff earlier, so I was able to create this stuff beforehand, on pages 42 through 45, we have the Cute as a Bug suite of products, and it is super cute. Lots of fun images in there. We have little ladybug embellishments and tiny little critters that you can die cut. Lots of good stuff. Here's some more examples made with those products on the other two pages that follow. So from there, you can see that we've got all the goodness here. This is the suite. It's called Sweet Bugs Stamp Set and Sweet Bugs Dies, and then Cute as a Bug paper. This is all in the Cute as a Bug suite of products, suite collection they call it, S-U-I-T-E. And then S-W-E-E-T for the title of the stamp set. There's ribbon. It's a really fun kind of woven. It's called Rick Rack. That makes sense. Specialty Rick Rack ribbon. And then here are the embellishments that I have left over, which is pretty good for me because I wanted to use them all up. So now let me show you the projects that we made at this retreat. Oh, thanks, Maria. All right, here we go. We have oh, that's Marie Angelis. Oh, hi, how are you? And then we have Nina, right? I think that's how you go by your, correct me if I'm wrong. Anyways, welcome. This is the first project that we made. We made a box and it's closable. It has a little magnetic closure. I actually had run out of paper during my event, so I made a second version. They could choose from either, but they went with this because that's what they were seeing. And then I surprised them in the end, I guess, with my version. But this is another version that you can do. Same papers, you just choose, you know, how you're I'm gonna demonstrate this, but not today. But then there's this little label piece, which I don't think I pulled the backing off the dimensional. Maybe that's why it's wiggling. Stick that down. There we go. So it's got a cute little label piece down here, a ribbon, the ladybug embellishments, and then inside it holds a bunch of cards. So then the second project that we made during the weekend was, or second projects, I should say, second set, is we made a bunch of cards. We made 9 cards from the paper that's in the suite. There's a special paper that's in there. Really fun, cute, simple cards. And those I will explain at a later date. We also made this card, and this is a case of a card from Emma Goddard, and it just blew me away when I saw it. It was so cute and wonderful and full of relaxation when you make it. There's a bunch of coloring in it. So you stamp and you color with blends markers, and I made mine into a Z fold with an extra panel on the inside. Did my sentiment a little bit differently than she did and kind of rearranged some of the imagery a little differently too, but I am so grateful, Emma, for the inspiration. If you didn't want to emboss, you could totally do a sentiment like this too. So I gave the gals options and their cards turned out beautifully. Oh, I'm gonna keep this over here because we're actually gonna come back to that later. And then we made a triple Z fold card. So, okay, good, I was right. Thanks, Nina. All right, this is a triple Z fold card. So you have 3 layers of paper that connect together on the 2 ends, and then you have this really fun, surprising with joy kind of card when the recipient opens it. So they could choose to make either this one or this one, and it was fun because there was a couple different, like there was more than Nobody just chose one, is what I should say. So ladybug embellishments on this one. This one has a little bit extra of a panel on the inside, stamp the sentiment in the middle instead. This one's over to the side, just one panel in the background. But I'm going to show you how to make that. And we have a really, really nice bow on here. I'm going to teach you how to do that too. So we're going to start with this card here. And before I do that, I do want to show you these papers. Sorry, I was going to do that earlier. Let me show you the fun papers that are in this suite, or yeah, in this pack of papers. So you actually get 2 of each of these, but I have in front of me just 1 of each. So this is my favorite. I love it. I saw Becky chiming in, hey, they brought the strawberry and blackberry paper back. And I'm wondering if you were talking about the last live that I just did an hour ago, because there is some paper that has berries in it in that too. But this one reminds me more of that paper we used to have. It was a celebration paper. It's different though. Anyways, we've got that, and then we've got some kind of like a quilt pattern on the other side. We have mushrooms and toadstools and leaves and little daisy flower type things, trunks of trees. Oh, and on the back side is kind of picnicky. And then we have these little scenes in here, super cute. On the back side, we have petal pink, kind of like a, I don't know, like when you sponge your wall. Has that sponged look. More scene, little scenery pieces. And on the back side, we have another quilty design. This is the one that we made all of those cute little cards from that went in the box. You can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we made 9 cards, 1 from each of these designs. And on the back side are the leaves. And then the last one is a sheet that's so great because you can die cut pretty much everything with coordinating dies from the suite. And then on the back side are these daisies. So let's take and start. We're going to pull in some packets here. So I've already pre-cut some of my papers. I'm just going to pull them all over here. This one was done with, with thick basic white. I would not recommend thick basic white for your card. So I'm not actually going to finish putting this together, but I'm using it as kind of like a guide for how, when we start to assemble. But thick basic white adds thickness, correct? So if you're going to create a fun fold card that has multiple layers, I always gravitate towards the regular basic white. All right. Eva just said, I can't get enough, or I didn't care for this, but now I can't get enough of it. I think it's really like, there's a lot of people loving this up. They're making all kinds of projects with this, aren't they? So now we have our sheets, and I haven't put any score lines in these yet. You'll want to also invest in envelopes. I forget to mention that a lot, but make sure that you're getting envelopes if you're a card maker. You want to be able to give these cards to people. We don't want to just make the cards for our own pleasure and then just let them sit in our house. Send your cards, you guys. Brighten somebody's day. So here we have a half a sheet of cardstock. It's literally a half a sheet, okay? 8.5 by 5.5, and we're going to score it in the middle, like we always do at 4 1/4. So if you've never made this fun fold before, a Z fold starts out as a regular card base. And then what we do is we put an extra score line in either side, and I'm going to choose this to be my front half. So I'm going to go halfway, and that is 2 1/8. So I'm going to score it 2 1/8, 4 1/4. Got that? Okay. The next piece is 4 1/4 by 7 1/4, and we're going to score at 2 1/8 and 4 1/4. What? Yes, it's the same score lines. You can see if we line it up there, you can see they're in the same spot. Okay. Debbie just got this sweet. Yay! Okay, then we have one last piece. This is going to be obviously the front layer, and this is 3 3/4 by 6 3/4, and we're going to score it at, oops, got a little piece of hair on there, 2 1/8, and I bet you're all saying it now, 4 1/4, and that is the key. That is the key for making this triple Z fold. Now, if you don't like the height of these or whatever, like the width or whatever, you can change that around, but your score lines should always pair up in order for the connection to work. You see that? They're all like, at least this spot here is the same, right? You have to have that section there be the same in order for it to work. I could have extended this further, but I made it so it was easier to remember. But this section, this middle section, has to measure the same distance. Now, we'll move this. Actually, we're going to keep it here, and I'm going to tell you the measurements of the other pieces. So I'm going to pull those in. But before I do that, I'm going to bring you to another screen. So let's go to our computer now. And yes, I have a PDF. Yay! Denise, I love it. She goes, I have to curb my enthusiasm, but this is a must-have. Okay, there we go. See it? We got it in there. Okay, so this is the PDF. The PDF does include the date and the title and yeah, and the list of measurements and the list of supplies and photos. So these are the two cards. I've got all the supplies for both two cards listed in the same PDF, photos from both of them in the same PDF. That way, if you like one versus the other, you can choose to make one or the other, okay? So I'd love to know if you have a favorite already. Maybe you do. We're starting with the simplest one though. So you can take a peek here. We already have those measurements that I rattled off to you here from the basic white cardstock. And now we're gonna go to the back layers, middle layers, front layers. You can see this one says 2, this one says 1, this one says 2, this one says 1. This one says 1, 2, or 3. Now I'm going to explain that to you. So 2 of these are going to be the same size, and 1 is a little bit wider. That's the same for these two sections. On this one, they're all the same because of how the measurements work out from the weight, but you can choose to have 1, 2, or 3 of those layers. And then the ribbon, I gave you 2 different measurements, 8 to 11 inches, depending on, if you're gonna do just a bow, you can use closer to the 8 inches. If you're gonna do a wraparound, like on this card, you're gonna wanna have it a little bit longer, okay? All right, okay, switching back to the desktop. Checking to see if there's any questions I didn't miss. All right, here we go. So here are the pieces that I have. So I have 2 of the same for the back layers, and they measure 2 inches by 5 3/8. Then we have another one that measures 4 1/8 inch by 5 3/8. They're all the same height, okay? The middle layers, also all the same height, but my 2 that go on the left and in the middle measure 2 inches wide by 4 1/8. And this one measures just under 3, so 2 7/8 by 4 1/8. And then I just have one for the front layers. But you could technically, depending on what style or what kind of paper you use or what you're putting on here, like maybe you're gonna have your sentiment on the front, so you put it up on a label, and all of these could be a different pattern that continues a scene. So you could technically have 3 of those, and they all measure the same, 2 inches by 3 1/4. For example, on this one, I have 2 panels. This one has 1, but again, if you wanted to fill the whole thing. Okay, so next, we're gonna take these and we're gonna connect them to our white paper. Let's grab our bone folder. I have tools everywhere. Where are they? Here they are. Okay, so for our bone folder, we're gonna fold in a zigzag, and that's called a Z-fold. So one fold goes in one direction, making sure that you're lining up the sides, and then the other fold goes in the opposite direction. There we have our Z. Create all your Z's. And if you accidentally, let's say I folded this way, it's okay, right? Watch. So here's what I thought it was supposed to be. That's not gonna work for the card. Just reverse it. Okay, it actually breaks the fibers even more and allows the card to stay even flatter when you fold back and forth like that. So now we have those layers set up. And the last one goes back and then front. So all together we have a valley fold, I'm sorry, mountain fold and then valley fold. Mountain fold, valley fold. So it goes in, up and in, up and in, and they can stack like that, right? So now we need to connect them. So this is where this little piece came in handy. Oh, actually, we don't connect them yet. Hang on, Rachel, you're getting ahead of yourself. Now we add the layers. You had buffering on your TV? Okay. Sometimes going out and coming back in helps, right? We're gonna flip these over. I know we're covering up these cute little bugs. And you can either choose to use glue or seal adhesive. Quick little commercial break for the Country Hive. Look at this cute thing. This is their newest. It's a little pot of gold for their glue bottles. I love it. It's so fun. Now we're just gonna go and lay this layer onto our piece here. And you wanna look at your flowers too. Like there they look sideways. So watch when you're cutting them to make sure that they're facing the right direction. We have a 1/16 of an inch of white all the way around that edge. You can see that. That one's ready. Then you can either choose the dark side or the light side. I mentioned two-tone cardstock for the Mossy Meadow. So it's up to you what you'd like to use. I have a little dimensional backing stuck in there. And that's gonna go in this spot here. One on the inside. So I'm just gonna keep on layering this onto my pieces here. And as I do so, you can see I'm not using up a ton of adhesive as I go faster. You can use up as much or as little as you like. The glue is going to take you the furthest, by the way. So if you are a glue user, I technically don't like gravitate towards that. I use it for different things. But if you are a glue user, it's going to go a lot further. See, this is, they dry up. They don't dry up. Rachel just never uses them. Oh my goodness sakes. Okay, we're going to put that away for now. It's a full bottle. I just have to get it going. Here's the last one for that middle layer. The width between here is a little wider just because you do have that score line in there, right? And when it folds flat, you don't want them connecting to each other. You want to have that separation. All right, last two layers. We are almost at the end of bonus days, you guys. So if you have not ordered product from Stampin' Up! In this month, you have till the February 2nd to do so in order to earn a $5 coupon. It's a $50 order. If you place a $100 order, you get two $5 coupons. Save those emails because those emails will allow you to then copy and paste when you redeem those coupons for product next month. And you don't have to have a minimum order next month. You just add that coupon to your order. It's pretty awesome because we're already earning reward points when we order. If our order is over $20, we're earning reward points, right? So you got your 10% from that, and then you get this $5 coupon for every 50. So it's like you're earning 20%. It's so awesome. All right, so there's that. We got them ready, and we're gonna start connecting them. I recommend using like a temporary adhesive, like Herma Transfer adhesive. Hermafix Transfer is what it used to be called. I think it's just called Herma right now. But I'm just gonna put a couple little splotches of that on the back side here, and then just a small amount there, okay? And it's on the outer part. I'm gonna lay this down in the middle, try to center it. See how it's all centered? And it looks good. And then I'm gonna close this and close this. Now you want to be able to, when a fun fold is happening, this is important to know, it's not gonna be perfect. It's not gonna open up flat anymore in this direction once you start connecting, your adhesives all the way. Because you have a little bit of buckling, there's layers in there, it's just inevitable. It's not gonna, what you wanna be able to have it do though is close flat. And you can see it's tilted. Rachel tilted it. So get it straight in there. And then what you do is you check it. You hold on tight, and you check to make sure it can open without being too weird. Okay? Once you've got that, then you can take and open up this panel here, and you can add your regular adhesive in there, your stronger adhesive. And I'm gonna add it right here and on the outside of that one and stick it down. And then I'm gonna open up this side. It's a little off. And then I'm gonna open up this side and add my adhesive here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And as I close it, that's more important than when I open it. Does that make sense? It has to be able to fit in an envelope. And then when it stands up like this, it's not like you're trying to flatten it down all the way anyways. See that? There's a little bit of like resistance to go completely flat. It's just the way of the world. Next, we'll add this one. Oh, and before we do this, Rachel should have stamped. You always want to stamp on your layers before you add them to your cards. And yeah, forgot. Let's bring in the Tuxedo Memento Black ink. Tuxedo Black Memento ink, that's what it's called. Inking up my stamp. This is a felt pad, so you can pound on it. Some of you are like, oh my gosh, she's pounding. Our other stamp pads, though, you don't want to pound. Okay, and then you center it. You can see through. Stamp it straight. And there's that. That looks good. Rachel didn't have to flip it over and peel this paper off and put it in another spot. Hi, Heidi. All right, so next, same thing, where you're going to put some temporary adhesive on the back and on the outside here. You're going to lay it down in here so it looks pretty good. Connect it all. Then you're going to open and close and see if it has a pretty good look to it. If it's tilted, you want to fix that. Open this up. Add your adhesive. Add your adhesive, right? And bring the outer portion of this and right here so it doesn't go beyond the top and bottom of that white layer, and flatten it down. Then we can take and open, keep this in place, and add this. And when you do this, just, tighten your card flat into a flat position as you go. And those are the tips I have for putting together a triple Z-fold. Like, it's not going to be perfect when it's all the way flat, but you want it perfect when you mail it. This piece is what we're going to work on next. And this is where you're going to take your paper snips. And I already kind of like estimated around the base of it to get a ground layer. We want a ground layer in there. And then we're cutting carefully around all these little guys here. I'm turning my paper as I cut, not my scissors. My scissors, I tilt every once in a while, but I don't do a lot of that. I kind of want to keep that in place. That's just my thing. I think other people actually agree with me that it's easier to cut when you're not going like this with your scissors. But it might work for you the other way. Then, as we're going around, I'm going to tell you about another thing happening. So in my last video that I did, it was actually just an hour before this one started. That was a product share, show and share, I call them. And I showed off some products that are coming March 3rd. March 3rd, you can get in on most of these products and purchase them. They are the March online exclusives, and you'll want to check out that video to see. Those are just some of my top favorites so far. It's hard. You want to buy it all, but you sometimes can't, right? So I shared a bunch of stuff, and then I also showed off the Stampin' Positioner. The Stampin' Positioner is a new positioning tool that Stampin' Up! Is releasing, and they're first releasing it to us demonstrators. So we are able to pre-order it now through February 2nd. February 2nd, yes, February 2nd. So if you are a demonstrator and you haven't heard this news yet, make sure that you know it. Because every year there's a bunch of people who come back and they say, oh my gosh, I didn't know I could pre-order it. Please, please, please check your current updates on at least a weekly basis. You want to make sure that you're in on all those kind of announcements. But yeah, we can pre-order, which means we can purchase it. And it's a fun tool. I shared how it works in the last video. I didn't share all of how it works because you're going to see videos everywhere pretty soon. And there's also a Stampin' Up! Video that walks through a lot of the basics of it. But that product is only available through the 2nd of February because starting February 3rd, anybody who gets the starter kit gets it as a free gift within. So if you're on the fence, you're thinking about becoming a discount shopper, or you want to, just see what it's like on the demonstrator side of things, maybe even do some classes or clubs or events or whatever, you can get the starter kit, and then you can do that. You can get discounts, you can do pre-orders, you can do Stampin' Up! Events, team events, swaps. It's really fun. Okay, so that's starting February 3rd. It goes through, I forget, I want to say end of February. So make sure you don't miss out if you are in those positions. Then the rest of us, you're like, well, now how do I get the Stampin' Positioner? And so I want to tell you that Stampin' Up! Is going to make it available in the future to all, but they don't know when yet because they have to kind of see how their inventory goes, you know, that sort of thing. So, all right. How do you access the PDF? Great question. In the link, I'm sorry, in the description of my video, Debbie, there's a link to my blog post, which will go live in like 30 minutes. And then when you're in that link, or when you're in that blog post, there's an actual area to click on to access the PDF so you can take and print it off and hang on to it. Thank you. All right, so here we have that cut out. The next thing that I want to do is bring in a bow maker. If you have a bow maker, great. This is bow making made simple for, where did my ribbon go? I'm using a different kind of ribbon for this. I'm not using the ribbon that's in the kit. I'm going to use the, oh, here it is. Nope, that's the full roll. Here it is. I'm using the Mossy Meadow and Gold ribbon. I just love this stuff. So I'm using about 8 inches of it. Oh my gosh, more hair. Rachel's shedding. For bow making, you can take and cross over, and then you take and you flip around and you tie in a knot. That's how easy it is, okay? So you cross over, flip it over, and tie in a knot. I have about, I want to say it's 8 inches. Did I say that before? Yep, 8 inches. So I'm going to just trim it to make it easier. This bow maker is from Spicy Prints. Yay, Spicy Prints. A demonstrator in my team has started a new little company where she's doing some 3D printing, and she is making these 3D printers. Oops, I'm going to cross it over this way. I'm used to doing my regular bows, but what's great about these is they, like, the knot doesn't move on you. Okay, then you center it and then you tighten it. And then you can either take the pegs out if you want to take it off, or you can slide it up there, but look at how fun that is, right? There's my little bow. You can make your bows closer together. You can make them super close. You can make them farther away, depending on what, you know, what size or what thickness of ribbon you have. So Spicy Prints, there's a link for it in my description. She just has a Facebook page right now. She doesn't have a website, but she's trying this out to see how it goes, and I'm impressed. So thank you, Vicki Spicer, for that. Some of you might know that name. She used to be someone who came here to assist me in my room. All right, next thing I want to show you on this. We're going to take and put a Post-it note here and a Post-it note here. So I kind of figured out where it would be, where it would look in the middle. And now I know where to put dimensionals, okay? So I'm gonna take my dimensionals, and here they are. And we're gonna put a couple here, a couple here, and oh gosh, we'll put one up at the head. And then we'll peel off the backings. I'm gonna keep those Post-it notes on there because they help to guide me when I'm putting it back in place too. So I lay this down, stick it in place, and now I can peel the Post-it notes off, and my dimensionals are not showing on the back sides of any of these pieces. Yay! One other thing I want to grab from Spicy Prints is this glue dispenser. So you put your glue inside here, and your glue dots, it just goes right inside this little spot here. And then, oops, it snaps in place. And then you can take and have your glue handy and ready to use. You don't have to pull it out of a box or anything. So you can just take your glue dot and ready to use. There you go. We're gonna stick that right down here. And then we'll trim the ends or the legs or the tails, whatever you wanna call those things. And we have our finished card. Pretty easy, right? Okay, so that is that version. For the other version, I used some embossed layers, and it made it kind of thick, but it's just stunning. So I want to show you the difference between, we have Blackberry Bliss in regular cardstock, and then we have it in the two-tone cardstock. I'm going to use an embossing folder that's fairly new called Stone and Vine. It's a 3D embossing folder. I love it. We're going to lay these in here. And I want to show you that with 3D embossing folders and two-tone cardstock and really, really tight designs, you can sometimes have issues. So This is why I went with the regular cardstock instead. So let's take a peek at this and see what we get. Alrighty. That's what happens. We sometimes expose the core of the two-tone cardstock because we're embossing so deeply that it breaks the fibers, and then those top layers that have been colored, but top and bottom layers that have been colored, because it's a white core in all of our two-tone cardstock, which is great in a lot of ways. But when it comes to this, sometimes you want that and sometimes you don't. A lot of people love this, and you know, sometimes like if you have this, you can take and do like sanding. Oh gosh, buffer block. So you could take a buffering kind of block, and you can enhance this even more, you know, really make that pop if you want to have your leaves really stand out on there, right? But in this case, I didn't want that to be the star of the show. I wanted it to be more subtle, but still have some really pretty texture. So that is the Stone and Vine embossing folder, and that layer went here, and then I had 2 more layers. So those are the middle layers. I embossed all of those for that middle layer. This is obviously the berry sheet, right? The first one that I showed you that I said was my favorite of all of them. And then these 2 pieces come from, there's a piece in here. This is it right here. So it's little scenery imagery. Like you could even do this one here, but just little parts and pieces. I believe this is, yeah, this is where I pulled the one for the bottom. I just took it right off the bottom of the sheet because it was going to have a flat edge anyways. So I cut around that one, and I cut around like this one here. And then after doing all that fussy cutting around there, I stuck this part down using glue. Okay, so that's flat to the layer, and this, oh, that one's not up on dimensional. This part here is up on dimensionals. Can you see it in there? So there's a dimensional, and this is flat. And then I used a bone folder too to kind of like give the leaves a little bit of character. Stuck the ladybug stickers down. Same thing over here. This is stuck flat. This is, where is it? There's a little, oh, maybe there's no dimensional there. There's no dimensional there. I think I just took my bone folder and kind of gave it a little curl so that when you open it up, it pops out more. Stamped the Hello Friends, same ink color in the middle, but I have 2 panels, and the panels for that, I used Cloud Cover, and I chose Cloud Cover Light because it really blended in with this color background on this sheet. Does that make sense? So I wanted it to kind of blend in more than anything. Oh, and then the bow is basically a knot. So I just took my ribbon, weaved it in here like this. So it's just, once the card was all assembled, you can just take your ribbon, stick it on here, and tie it in a knot. And that's where I used the 11 inches of ribbon. So there's that. We have one more card that I want to show you. Oops, don't go away there. My card was falling off my table. One more card that I want to show you, and that is this one. Oh, before we do that, here. Those of you that saw my video last week for Paper Pumpkin, now you know how to make this, right? I said I was going to show this to you soon. So this is envelope layers. You just have to cut, like, you know, just, you might have to cut a couple envelopes to get all these layers, but then this is one of the pieces in there, one of the pieces, and I used my bone folder to kind of curl, put some bees on there, stuck this up with a dimensional. This is on a dimensional. So now you know how to make that card. Yay! Okay, back to this one. And I did do the envelope on that with a matching little coloring design. For this card here, you're gonna have these elements. You're gonna have your base piece, and that is scored in half at 5.5 inches. So now we're doing a Z fold in the opposite direction. 5.5, and half of 5.5 is 2 3/4. Oh, thanks, Trisha. So you have your 2 score lines in there to make your Z fold. Here's the Z fold, right? Then for the next layers, you have white, and they're both the same size. They're 4 inches tall, or well, because we're going this way, 4 inches tall by 5 1/4 inches wide. One is going to become an inside layer, and you actually put that down first, and then you put this layer on your card so that you don't have like this layer sticking out, right? So you have to really be careful to make sure you do your inside to your outside when you build up a Z-fold like that. So you stick that down after you've stuck this one down, and that's how you get your Z-fold. The layers that are upon that are 6 of each of these. And I don't have a PDF for this one. This is, again, designed by Emma Goddard, and I just love it. So I'm just gonna tell you measurements in here. They're also in the blog post. You'll be able to see the measurements there. But this is 7/8 of an inch by 3 3/4. And you want 6 of those. And then we go down 1/8 of an inch for the white. So the white layers are, instead of 7/8, we're gonna go down 1/8 of an inch to 3/4 of an inch. And this direction, it is, instead of 3 3/4, it's 3 5/8. Oh, you can't see that very well. There we go. Okay, and you want 6 of those. There's my 6th one. And then a little piece that can be your sentiment piece. I did make mine a 1/2 inch by 2 inches, but you could also use like the banner punch that we have, or you could take and, you know, if you don't want to do any embossing white on black, you could do stamping black on white and then put like a little black layer behind it. This is our 1 7/8 inch circle punch. And this is the black is the 2 inch circle punch behind there. So you could choose to do that. You could stamp your envelope in any way you want. Here's a couple other versions. Those are on the flaps. This is on the front. Lots of choices. And then for this is called linen thread. The linen thread is, I want to say 12 inches. Yeah, it's about 12 inches. So we're going to take our bow maker again, and we're going to have them spread apart with just one hole in the middle. And this time we're going to do wrap around once, wrap around twice. And I think that's right. Yeah, because now we have 3 little loops in there. And then you just take one of these. It doesn't matter which one. You want to cross them over. And then you take and either bring this through or you bring this through. But once you have one through and around again, you can tie your knot. These are such great tools, you guys. I need to be using this more often. And you take and tie it nice and tight, slide it off, and then you can spread out your little loops. And that's how I got the cute little bow that's on the front here. That's how I got that, okay? This is done with embossing. So with embossing, you stamp with your Versamark ink. You stamp with Versamark ink. So ink up your stamp it on here. It's going to be clear and sticky. Then you sprinkle white powder on, and you can sprinkle it into this little tray. This is our Embossing Additions toolkit. Sprinkle it into the tray, and then you can use the brush to kind of get it through this hole. This comes off, and it can go back into your container. You need a heat tool. You heat it up, and the powder melts, and it becomes this, you can feel it. It's really awesome. If you've never done embossing, look up embossing videos. I'm not going to walk you through that today, but because we have black for our sentiment piece, which I've already lost, because Rachel loses things easily. It's here somewhere. Anyways, oh, it's probably in my tray. There it is. We have black dimensionals, and I don't know if you're aware of that, so I wanted to point that out. I put black dimensionals on the back side of my pieces here, so you can hardly tell that there's adhesive back there because they're black dimensionals. They're like shadowed in there. So cool. All the other parts are stuck down with flat adhesive, whether it's your multi-purpose liquid glue or whether it's your seal, or maybe you're somebody that likes to use like tape or whatever it is you use. So to make the imagery, you basically just take and do a separate pattern in each one of these. So you can kind of map out what you want to do, but you're going to take your pattern, and here's my stamps. We have a little bit of time here. This is good. You take your pattern and you decide, let's just grab that little ladybug reading a book. And we'll grab the, there's also a little image in here with a flower and some grass. We'll grab that. Okay, so let's go ahead and put those onto some clear blocks. There's one. This one has to be flipped over. There's two. We'll grab our tuxedo black ink. And for our second panel on our card, this is the one I'm looking at. I'm going to stamp my little ladybug so the shell almost hits the back side, and it's about 1/4 of an inch off the ground so we have room for the grass. We've also got flowers up there. I guess I'm not doing those right now. Ink up your stamp. So pounce, 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 pounce. Ink it up and then stamp it down. I'm going to ink it up a little bit more. And then we're going to take the grass and we're just going to put a little bit of grass down in this lower corner. Okay, because there's more grass that extends onto that other panel here. And over here, we use the full image of the grass. In here, we just use the mushrooms. And here, there's just a tiny bit of grass and the mushrooms. Okay, so that's how I did the ground on all of them. But all the grounds, you can see, have a little bit of that light green in there. So let's take and start with the green. And the green, the green, the green. Here's my markers. We're using Blends markers for this. Oh, my drawer never shut. We're using Blends markers for this. Okay, and the color of the green that we're using is the Old Olive. So the light Old Olive is what you want to gravitate towards. I have found that sometimes on my Blends markers, one end is darker than the other. I'm a brush tip end kind of colorer, so you might have a different look that happens after you've colored than mine, just based on sometimes the intensity of the ink. And so there's that, that's done. Now I'm gonna grab my real red, and if I want to, like especially on my leaves, and you can see like Blends coloring videos too, I've got a few of those, but you can see that we've got 2 tones of the greens in there. For the next one, I'm gonna start with my light red. This is real red. I'm just coming in to color the shell, going around the book, around the dots, getting the shell. And then we're gonna bring in the dark. Oh, this was the dark. Okay, well first you wanna do the light, then you wanna do the dark where we want it to be darker, and then we wanna do, okay, we'll show that with the yellow, because now we have the whole thing dark. All right, here's my light, Daffodil Delight. We're gonna do the book. This is just the way, the pattern I like to choose is light, dark, light. So I'm choosing light, coloring the book, cap your pen each time, then grab your dark, go where you want it to be darkest. You can see it already looks a little darker right at the spine of the book, right? And then you can take your blends in the light color and you can do a little bit of swirling action, and that helps to pull the colors so that you don't see that sharp dark and light look, right? So it kind of blends it together, so it gives it a more gradual change of light to dark. The other part on this one is the smoky slate. So for the smoky slate, you could just do, I'm sorry, is it smoky slate? Yes, it is, smoky slate, the light gray. You could just do the light everywhere if you want to, or you could come in and you can do that shading effect, where you add some darkness where you think it should be darker, maybe underneath the belly here. And then you can take and blend it. The shadow of the book, right? The shadow of the book made it darker. So now we have that gradual dark to light in there. And then the head. The head of our little bug is petal pink in the light color. Now, in one of my cards I made, I just did gray all over. But yeah, we're making that head look a little bit more humanized, I guess. Personification of a bug. You could make it any color. I liked the gray, but I went with this just because, I don't know. I was copying Emma's card. I love it. Another thing that she used in this one was the pool party color in the light. And so if you take that light pool party, and I love this little trick she did. She went around the outline of all of her images, and I don't have my reading glasses on. I probably should have done that, but you take your light and you outline the whole thing. Yeah, reading glasses would help, Rachel. What it does is it really makes that image stand out. It gives it kind of a sky background, right? And that's kind of sloppy looking, but you can see the faint blue all around these little guys here. Just a faint amount of blue. I mean, it's around every single image. We have the bee up here, and the bee, which normally is holding a watering can, is kind of connected to the sentiment on top. I did use some sticky notes to kind of mask off areas when I wanted to stamp a leaf that had a connecting image to it. You know, then you don't get your images kind of crossing over each other. Thanks so much, Amy. This is Real Red with Crumb Cake. This is Daffodil Delight, Light Petal Pink, Petunia Pop, Old Olive again, and then in here I have Petal Pink, Light and Dark, plus a little bit of Light Calypso Coral, which looks dark, but it's the lighter one. And then the same thing for the mushrooms in here as they are down here. So that's how you get that. And then you just space out your pieces. And again, I recommend like a temporary adhesive like Hermatransfer, which you can find in my favorite extras, but you're gonna mount them all onto here. All the strips go on here. Then you lay them out evenly, use the temporary adhesive on the back so you can space them, and then you lift up each one at a time and put it in place. I like to work from the outside in. So I laid down my 2 outside pieces first, and then once that was done, I kind of spaced these within and filled it up. So there's that. Yay. Fun. Do you have questions that we might not have answered yet? Trisha, thank you so much for being here. She's my moderator. If you've seen Trisha's posts come through as we've been doing this, she is answering questions and just like amazing. You're amazing, woman. I love it. I'm going to move these things off to the side. I want to bring in one more little tray here. Do you see these cute things? These are all white paper that have been inked with daubers. So cute. So I'm going to show you some of that stuff later on too. This one has some white gel pen on top. So you have a mushroom with, you know, I don't know, freckles. And so I'll be showing you in the future, like in the next blog post, it will be the box and the cards. And then in a future one, I'm going to show you the gift that I gave them that was like really cool. It was like a little stacked s'mores gift. And then you'll see some pictures too. So we'll try to pull that all together in future blog posts that are coming up soon. Let me pull up all of the cards again so you can see them. Actually, this one's the same one. We'll just take one out of the way. And then we'll bring these in too, even though we haven't done them yet, but you get the idea. Those are coming. The boxes and the cards. If you are a a paying member of my channel in the supporter member, that's what I want to go to. If you're paying $5.99 a month, you're getting that extra video each month. And so on the 30th, yes, the 30th is when we are going to do a live at 7 p.m. Central Time, and you'll be able to tune in and get step-by-step instruction for these boxes, for the cards, and then on the post that I make public, the measurements will be in there, the photos will be in there, but not all the directions. So most of you can figure that stuff out, but if you're a supporting member, I want to give you perks. We have that live again on January 30th at 7 p.m. Central Time, and then February 4th, next Wednesday, is my next live for sure. But I have so much that I've been creating. I don't know, I might throw in another one. Just like I surprised you this morning with an extra live at 10. We'll see what we can do. Okay, what else do I want to tell you about? We only have a few days left in the month, so if you are someone who likes to subscribe to my all-star videos, you can do so by the last day of January and save. You pay for 5, you get the 6th one free. Make sure that you visit my blog to learn more about that. My website is stampyourartout.com. I think I've covered it. I think I covered it. Ah, yes. And then Kevin, if you're signed up for Kevin Thiessen's event, I'm a presenter in that. That's coming up this weekend too. Yes. Thank you for bringing that up, Liz. Okay. You guys rock. I'm trying to see if there's any other questions. I don't see any. And so I should let you all go. I've taken up a lot of your time this morning. And then my demonstrators in my group, we have a live coming up in like 25 minutes. So I'll see you at 12:15 if you're a demonstrator in my Stampers with Art Stars group. And the rest of you, take care. We'll see you soon. Love you all, and I appreciate you. Thank you. Now I'd like you all to go and stamp your art out. Bye-bye.